Hi, I'm Josh, and I love boats. To me, it seems like magic. They float on water and can go places I've never seen before. Today, we're gonna have a lot of fun. My Uncle Bill is taking my friends and me out for a day of fun and adventure. We'll be going on a trip to the harbor to see real ships and boats right up close. I hope you'll be my friend and come along too. It's Uncle Bill! Hi, Uncle Bill! Uncle Bill!
Uncle Bill reporting for duty.
Well, hi, Uncle Bill, or should I say Captain Bill today?
Well, you can call me Captain Bill today if you want. I just thought I'd bring this hat along to help us inspire our imaginations. But, you know, later we might just see a real captain. What do you think about that?
Wow! Awesome! I like your hat, Uncle Bill, but what does imagination mean?
Oh, well, your imagination is that special skill you use when you're pretending. Like when you pretend you're an astronaut flying through space, or you pretend you're a race car driver driving really fast. And you use your imagination, too, when you're trying to learn about something. Like you see a horse and you wonder how fast it's running, or you see an old tree and you wonder how big that tree might be.
So if I hold my breath and pretend I'm a deep sea diver, is that using my imagination?
Exactly.
And if I wonder how long she can stay under there?
That's using your imagination and your curiosity at the same time. And that's what I want you guys to do today, okay? We're going to use our imaginations, and we're going to ask a lot of questions. And that way, we're going to have a lot of fun and learn something, too. Sound good?
Yeah, let's go! That sounds like fun, Uncle Bill.
All right, you guys ready to get going?
Yeah!
All right, we got a lot to see. Here we go.
Okay, well, have fun and be careful.
Okay, bye, Mom.
I'll see you later this afternoon. I want to hear all about your day. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mom. Look at that big ship.
That's a freighter. It's being loaded at the container dock. Freighters are used to carry things to faraway places.
I never knew they were this big.
Well, Josh, the larger they are, the more they can carry. Also, the waves in the ocean can be bigger than a house. So to keep the boat stable, the bottom sits way underwater. You see those numbers? That tells us the bottom's almost 9 meters under. That's about 30 feet. That white building is where the crew lives and where the captain steers the ship. It sits way up high so they can see over the big waves. And there's the lifeboat, just in case they have any trouble. And you see all those boxes? They're called containers, and they can hold cargo like machines and food and even toys. They may look small from here, but they're as big as a truck.
There goes a truck now.
Yep, it's bringing that container to be loaded. And there's a crane that picks up each container. It swings it off the truck and it sets it way up onto the ship. They spend all day long stacking containers until the ship's full and it's ready for its long journey.
Uncle Bill, look at that.
Yeah, looks like that crane went fishing and caught a forklift. Actually, they'll use that to move around some of the smaller containers.
There it goes.
Hey, look at the fireboat over there.
Wow.
That's a water cannon on the front. And it has ladders just like a fire truck, only this one floats. That's where they attach the hoses.
There's a water cannon on top to spray water way up high.
Right, Ashley. The fireboats are here for safety and to put out fires on boats and on docks near the water.
U.S. Coast Guard? What does that boat do?
Well, the Coast Guard is also there to keep us safe and to make sure that big ships follow the rules when they're on the water. Kind of like what the police boat does for smaller boats. Rules. That reminds me, let's talk about some rules for water safety. Who knows one?
I do. Don't get too close to the edge or you might fall in.
Right. What else?
Always bring a grown-up with you when you're gonna go near the water.
Exactly. Always bring somebody like me along, whether you're coming to the harbor or a lake or a river or a pond or even a swimming pool, okay?
Okay.
Hey, what do you say we take a closer look? Come on, this way. this ship here is called the Virginia 5. It's 125 feet long and 24 feet wide. The hull, that's the part beneath that black line you see, and the superstructure, that's everything above it, is all made out of wood. Now, this ship was built in 1922, and they don't make ships like this anymore. Nowadays, they make them out of steel and out of aluminum. Now, the Virginia 5 is one of 450 steamships that used to sail around Puget Sound. It's the last authentic operating passenger steamship of the whole fleet.
Uncle Bill, when was 1922?
Oh, well, 1922 was when, well, it was when your grandma and your grandpa were about your age.
Gosh, that was a long time ago, Uncle Bill.
It was a long time ago. Hey, and you guys are going to be impressed with how new this ship still looks. You want to go look?
Yeah!
All right. Here we go. Look up here, it's the captain.
Hi, Captain!
Permission to come aboard, sir. All right, here we go. Wow, look at this. Isn't it great?
Wow, look at this room! What's that, Uncle Bill?
Oh, well, the Virginia 5 is a wooden steamship. And since there's so few of them left, the United States government decided to make this in 1992 to make the Virginia 5 a National Historic Landmark. There's only 100 ships in the whole United States that have National Historic Landmark designation.
What does that mean, Uncle Bill?
It's kind of like making it a museum. The great thing about the Virginia 5 is it still runs exactly the way it was built in 1922. There's people whose job it is to make sure that this ship lasts forever and ever, just like it is. So you want to learn a little more about how the steamship engine operates?
Yeah!
All right, follow me. All right, this way to the engine room.
Oh, sweet!
And there it is. There's the engine. Ah! And here is the fireman. This is Fireman Johnson. Now,
Hi, kids.
Fireman Johnson is not a fireman like a regular fireman who puts out fires. In fact, Fireman Johnson actually starts fires. That gets the engine running. But let's let him tell us about it.
That's right, Bill. Since this is a steam engine, we have to have a fire to make the steam. The fire is down below in the firebox, and it makes the steam in what we call the steam drum, which is like a steam kettle that you would have in your kitchen. And the steam from the kettle comes up through this big pipe and down to this valve. This valve is called the throttle valve, and it's like the gas pedal on your car. When we want the engine to go faster, we just open the valve. When we want the engine to go slower, we just let off of the valve and close it. This is the engine order telegraph. This is how the captain communicates with the engine room. The captain rings down that he wants us to go forward 2/3. And to let him know that we've received his order, we answer him by placing this lever at 2/3. And then we open up the throttle to get the engine running at 2/3 speed. And this is the gear shift. It makes the boat go forward, where it is now, or reverse. It takes a little while to start the engine and get the steam up. And that's what I'm going to do right now.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Fireman Johnson.
You're welcome.
Goodbye. Hey, let's go up towards the front of the boat. Ready? This way, this way.
Fireman Johnson has an important job. He's very careful starting a steamboat engine and never ever plays with fire because he knows it's really dangerous. Hi, Captain Moss.
Hi, kids, come on in.
Hi.
Give you a chance to take a look at the pilot house.
All right, and this is the pilot house, and you guys have already met Captain Moss. Now, Captain Moss is the captain of this whole ship. He's in charge of the whole thing. Captain Moss, why don't you tell us a few of the things that go on here in the wheelhouse?
I sure will. This is the steering wheel. Of course, modern ships don't have these anymore. They have just a little lever or a little tiny wheel that's run by electricity or hydraulics or something, but this is an old-fashioned wheel that's original. And just like the rest of the Virginia 5, this wheel is made entirely of wood. The reason for spokes or handles on a ship's wheel is to give you something to hold on to, because you have to pull very, very hard to turn it. This is an engine order telegraph, usually referred to as a telegraph, and this tells the chief engineer 3 decks below which way or how fast we want to go. Over here is what we call a whistle lanyard. This is used to sound the steam whistle, and we'll be doing that in a few minutes when we get underway. Over here, ahead of the wheel, we have the magnetic compass. The compass helps us to find our way in rain and fog and darkness. Well, you kids have had a pretty good look at the Virginia 5's pilot house, and what do you say we get underway?
All right. Yeah.
We'll go forward.
Look over there.
That looks like a fishing boat.
Right. Every day, hundreds of fishermen go out in those boats to catch the fish we eat for lunch and dinner. Can you see the captain up there? Why don't we go up to that deck for a better view? Hey, listen to this riddle. What do you know that can fly high in the sky, but also can float just like a boat? It has rudders for steering on its feet and its tail, and a propeller for a nose to help it up through the air. The last hint you'll get is this, that it's not a bird or Superman. It's a machine with a person who is a pilot and a captain.
A seaplane!
There it goes. Nice plane.
I think that whistle means we're getting near the dock.
Watch as we get closer. He's going to jump out down there. Now, first he ties off in the middle of the boat to slow it down. And then they throw out lines to hold the bow. That's in the front. And another line at the stern. That's the back of the boat.
All right. You like that?
Yeah!
Hey, look up here.
Hi, Captain Moss. Thank you.
Hi, kids. Sure nice seeing you, kids. I'm glad I was able to bring you on board.
It's a beautiful ship.
Thank you.
Come on, guys.
What are all those people waiting for?
Oh, well, those people in these cars, they're all waiting for a ferry to arrive.
But why are they waiting?
Sometimes, when a distance is just too far to build a bridge, well, ferries are used to transport people, cars, even trucks.
That is a long way.
It is a long way, but some ferries travel even farther than that. Some go hundreds of miles. Some travel even overnight. Now, the ferry we're waiting for is called a commuter ferry, and it only takes 30 minutes.
What's a commuter ferry?
A commuter ferry goes back and forth all day long carrying passengers and cars. Some of these people actually ride a ferry to and from work every single day. They're called commuters, and that's why it's called a commuter ferry.
So it's just like my dad riding the bus to work.
Yes, Ashley, it's just like that. They are just like big buses on the water, except for you can see that these ferries are big enough to hold a lot of buses themselves.
How big is it, Uncle Bill?
This ferry is larger than a football field. It's 440 feet long and 87 feet wide. It can hold 2,000 passengers and 206 cars right on the deck. You see, all these cars will drive on one side of the ferry, park, and then after the ride over, they'll drive out the other side. Hey, looks like they're loading. Let's get on board.
Yeah!
Come on. See all the cars down there driving onto the ferry? There's one main deck where they park for the ride. And there's the crewman making sure everyone knows where to go. For more parking, there's also raised side decks.
200 cars is a lot of cars.
That horn means people better hurry to get on, because we're leaving soon. Here we go!
Wow, we're going really fast. This boat must have big engines.
It does. Let's go down to the engine room and take a look. This is Assistant Engineer Jim. He's under the car deck in the engine room of the ferry. This ferry has 4 enormous engines that make it go.
This is the control room where we control the engines. This is what makes the boat go, right here. This controller right here actually controls what direction the boat goes and how fast. When you change the position of this wheel, you go faster, slower, and when you look out the windows here, you can see these are the main engines that we're controlling with this. If you move this, it either slows down or speeds up or goes in the other direction.
So, that's what makes the boat go. Let's go up to the top deck. Wow, look out there.
Wow!
There's the fireboat we saw earlier spraying water for that cruise ship.
Is it on fire, Uncle Bill?
Oh, no. It's just a nice tradition that when a large cruise ship leaves the harbor, it's escorted by the fireboat, which gives a salute by spraying water. The spray way up into the sky says to the other boat, goodbye, and have a safe journey. Here comes the cruise ship.
That big boat's catching up fast. Uncle Bill, what's a cruise ship?
It's a ship carrying hundreds of passengers to different places all around the world. Usually, they're people who are on vacation. Now, these ships are like floating hotels. They have fun things on board like dancing and restaurants and even swimming pools.
That sounds like fun. That ship is going far away. Bye-bye, fireboat. Hey, that's kind of a funny-looking boat.
Well, really, that's two boats. The one in front's a barge, and behind, it's a tugboat. They work together because barges don't have any engines to make them go. They just carry things. They get pushed around all day by a tugboat in back, and tugboats are really powerful. Yeah, they might look small, but they're strong. They could push barges that are 10 or 20 times their size. These guys work around the harbor all day long, pushing barges with gravel or coal or oil and even construction equipment.
Cool.
Tugboats don't just push barges from behind. Sometimes they pull them from way out in front. See, they use a long cable and they pull them from far away. Can you see it, Ashley?
I think so, Uncle Bill. Yeah, there's a tugboat over there.
Work around the harbor can be so hard that these guys work in pairs. When they get near the dock, they move in together. One pushes, the other one pulls. They work as a team to deliver the cargo to the dock.
Ashley, can I take a look? Awesome! It's beautiful! It's a sailboat!
Sailboats are beautiful, aren't they? They use the wind to make them go. And when you're out in a sailboat, it's usually just to have fun. You're right, that is a parachute, but it's being pulled by a boat. It's called parasailing.
Wow, that looks like fun.
That really is. What is
radar!
You're right. What do they use radar for? What about if we were riding our ferry at night?
Yeah.
Could you just look out and see where we were going?
No.
What would you have to use?
A dilly bopper.
A dilly bopper. The radar. You got it. So if it's really cloudy or really stormy or dark, they use that to tell them where they are. Let's go to the wheelhouse and see if the captain can show us how that radar works. This is the wheelhouse, and this is Captain Bingham.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good.
Captain Bingham.
Hi there, how are you
Hi,
guys
Captain.
today? Okay, this is the wheelhouse. This is where we steer the ship from. Joe takes care of the actual mechanics of steering, uses the wheel. I heard you mention the dealy bopper on top of the pilot house. Now that's the antenna for the radar, and what we have right here is the radar. We use the radar in fog to tell us where the surrounding vessels are and the land around us, help us navigate. This is where I control the speed and direction of the vessel. I'm going to slow the vessel down right now. That puts it on half speed, and it will allow the ship to start slowing down before we get to the dock. Okay, we'll go to slow speed now. And I've got a sailboat up ahead of me. I'm gonna have to make a course change. Lever, lever, Joe. Now that transfers the controls to me. So now I control the rudders right here. And at this point, I'll begin to make the landing and get lined up. That does is put the propellers going the opposite direction, because that's the only kind of brakes we have.
You just put it in reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Look at the water it's kicking up.
And I'll bring the bow over with the rudder.
Wow.
And that's how we dock the ship.
That was fun. So now the cars can get off.
We've had a great day today, Uncle Bill. Yeah.
We got to see a lot of cool stuff, huh?
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's time we get home.
Okay.
Hey, but before we go, there's Captain Bingham.
Hi, Captain Bingham.
Thank you, sir.
See ya.
Bye-bye. All right.
That was so cute.
All right.
Hey, back on your adventures. Well, how was
It
it?
was great, Mom. We got to ride a real ferry and a steamboat. We saw freighters and sailboats and tugboats and seaplanes and seagulls on the ferry.
Hey, slow down. I want to hear all about it, but one at a time. Well, it sounds like you had lots of fun.
Well, we had a pretty good bit of fun. And I think we learned a little bit too, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think we're going to take another trip real soon. That okay with you guys?
Okay.
So, tell me about these seagulls.
Well, they fly right next to the ferry. The ferry was great. The one we rode on can hold 200 cars and 2,000 passengers. The ferries go back and forth all the time.